So why do some cases settle and some cases don't at mediation? And the answer is it's complicated. Hopefully this week's blog post will shed a little light on some of the rationale as to why your results may vary at mediation. Although most cases settle on the day of mediation, there are some that don't. There are some that settle prior to trial. Sometimes it's information. Sometimes it's a host of other factors. But this week's blog post is going to address that question. I hope you've enjoyed the previous blog posts, and thank you for those who have reached out. The goal here is to always provide you with good information about the process, although most attorneys do an excellent job with that. The intent of this is to try to sort of fill in the gaps a little bit and ensure that people have a good resource to understand what's expected and kind of the procedures behind what you're going to encounter at mediation. Settlement is more than showing up, and that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm Brian Wallace. I'm an attorney mediator with nearly 2 decades of legal experience, and today we're going to talk about what can make your mediation successful. It's like anything else, a lot of the progress begins before the date of the mediation even comes. Everybody's got a part to play in this, okay? There has to be a clear understanding of all of the issues, of risk, of cost, of potential paths forward. There are 50 things to consider. And as part of the preparation work on my end, I usually come in with numerous options to consider for the parties. But you gotta look at the strengths of the case. Each case is different, weaknesses in each case. The cost to keep fighting, the risk involved if we don't settle it on that day. What might a judge, what might a jury do in these circumstances? What the outcome could be, what the potential looks like. And in many cases, sometimes I will ask, what does the ideal settlement look like? Understanding that no settlement's going to be perfect. There's give and take. No settlement is going to be exactly what you want because, again, it's give and take, right? But I'll often ask, well, ideally, what would a good settlement look like? And many times what I hear, the response to what I hear many times is, listen, we don't want the perfect to be the enemy of the good. And there's a lot of credence to that. No settlement's going to be perfect. And a lot of times the expectations have to align for that to work out. Unrealistic expectations can stop progress. Okay, this is covered in the blog, but that could be poor information. It could be other factors. No one. This is key to remember. Okay, I will often tell people in the process that no one is going to settle their case in a negotiated settlement or mediation context if the best deal that they get represents their worst day in court. I deal in a world of best alternatives to negotiation agreement versus worst alternatives to negotiated agreement, okay? And if what you are offering the other side represents their absolute worst day in court, why would they take that, right? So we've got to find kind of the sweet spot here, and both sides are going to have to give. Now, a lot of times the factor's time. I think about my tomatoes that are coming in, okay? I don't know when you're going to be watching this blog when you find it, but it's late May and I've got tomatoes now. But no matter what I do, I can go out there and I can try to rush them. I can try to push them, but guys, they're still green, and there's nothing that I can do. Nothing that I can do to make them ripen any quicker. And a lot of times that's what you encounter within a litigation context. Things just aren't ripe. And a lot of times the parties that appear with me understand. I'll say from time to time that we got to eat the elephant a bite at a time, and sometimes we're just not there yet. A lot of times you have to set benchmarks and goalposts, and it takes multiple times to get where we need to be. But a lot of times that's what progress looks like. So progress can look like what can we do today to get us where we need to be, either to finish it up or to maybe take another look at this in 6 weeks when circumstances have changed. What else can you do on your end? Okay, so when you show up, and again, most attorneys do a great job with this, but if you're watching this, have your bank account numbers, have your VIN numbers, if we draft an agreement, all that needs to go in it, okay? So all of the time, and my goal is always to save people time and money, right? I want you in, I want you taken care of at the least possible worry, at the least possible cost. So have your VIN numbers for your vehicles, have your payoffs on your house, have your mortgage information, have all of the things that come along with that. A future blog post may entail like a checklist. That's a good idea. So check back and we'll put something like that together. It maybe a downloadable PDF. Sometimes you have to look at the end goal and sort of back your way in and just figure out, okay, how do we get there from here? Settlement's not magic, okay? It's a lot of preparation, it's a lot of flexibility, it's a lot of risk analysis. Both sides have to be realistic for things to settle. And I will ask people, when they sit in this very office sometimes, if we can get this where it needs to be, are you ready to settle the case today? And I don't care how good a deal is if somebody's not prepared on that day. If everyone is not on board, the stars have to align. If everyone is not ready on that day, and it could be a variety of factors, okay? But if everyone is not ready on that day, all the effort in the world's not going to matter, okay? So there's more to it than just showing up. If you have questions, I'll be glad to address those. I'd love to hear from you. BrianTheMediator.com will get you here. And I'll check back next week for another blog post. Thanks so much.